Part 26. I changed my profession and became a concept god, shocking the world with one knife. Author, How Like the Human World. Chapter 251. We can't stay here for a long time, we have to get out first. The secret realm assessment lasted for 3 days in total. If we stayed for a few more hours, maybe a few days would have passed outside. Thinking of this, Suren looked around again and made sure that there were no other treasures here. Then he said to Mu Hongxia, "Let's go, senior sister Mu." "Stop. You can't leave." Nangang Ao was the first to stand up and stop Suren and the others. "You two are the first people to arrive at this palace, and all the treasures inside will definitely be obtained by you two. Now you just leave, but have you ever asked us?" Suren was not angry when he heard this, but smiled and said, "Oh? What do you want?" Before Nangang Ao spoke, Cao Yan stood up and said, "First, hand over all the point tokens you grabbed. Second, open your system backpack and let us take a look. The treasures you obtained in this palace must be handed over for distribution to everyone. Thousands of our people here were almost killed or injured, and we didn't get anything. Do you think it's reasonable that the two of you took everything?" After Cao Yan finished speaking, he turned back to look at the other professionals. "Everyone, is this reasonable?" Everyone had not thought so much at first, but after being reminded by Nangang Ao and Cao Yan, they reacted instantly. They worked hard to get here. Why did Suren and the two of them take away all the treasures in the palace like this? Young Master Cao is right. Without us stopping those agency puppets, Suren and Mu Hongxia wouldn't have been able to get here so easily. Things must be taken out and distributed among everyone. That's right, hand over the things and distribute them to everyone. The crowd was furious and asked Suren and the others to hand over what they had obtained. There are so many people here, and relying on their strength, they are not afraid of Mu Hongxia at all. Originally, a few people from the Longwu Guild wanted to support Mu Hongxia, but with so many people opposed, they could only lower their heads silently. Thousands of people are simply not something they can handle. Seeing everyone's reactions, Cao Yan and Nangang Ao looked at each other and saw the smile in each other's eyes. "Hand over your things. There are so many people here and you can't leave. Although we are not allowed to kill people, being obedient can save you from the pain of flesh and blood." Mu Hongxia looked at Suren. As long as Suren was here, she felt that nothing could trouble him. So Mu Hongxia is not panic at all now. Facing the pressure from these thousands of people, Suren smiled lightly. "If I heard correctly, are you trying to rob me?" "Rob me?" Nangang Ao held his head high and sneered. "You can think so, hand over your things to keep you safe." Suren nodded. When everyone thought Suren was about to compromise, they unexpectedly called Suren softly. Then a man wearing green clothes appeared in front of Suren. "Master, what are your orders?" The Poison Dragon King, who turned into a human form, bowed to Suren and asked. The sudden appearance of the stranger startled everyone else, and no one knew how he suddenly appeared in the hall. Who is this person? How did he enter the secret realm? Everyone looked at the Poison Dragon King's age, and he didn't look like someone under 25 years old at all. He was at least over 40. His name is Master Suren. Could it be that he is Suren's protector, someone who protects him secretly? Damn it, there is a shady secret. How can Suren's protector enter the secret realm? Suren ignored the shouts of those people and ordered to the Poison Dragon King. "Just give them all my poison to paralyze them, and don't kill them." If so many people died, it would be impossible for anyone to explain clearly. After all, those who can enter the secret realm are the elites of the younger generation. "Yes, Master." Although the Poison Dragon King is still in a weak state, he can easily subdue these brats with a single strike. I saw the Poison Dragon King wave his hand gently, and green poisonous mist filled the entire hall in just an instant. When everyone saw this, they cursed and quickly sealed their mouths and noses to try to prevent the poisonous mist from entering their bodies. Thousands of point tokens were obtained by one person. Even in the history of Dragon Kingdom Secret Realm assessment, such an outrageous thing has never happened. Suren, who had already walked over, turned back and then took the knife in his hand. She had already guessed that the person just now was probably another pet beast that Suren collected somewhere, or a pet beast that could transform into a human form. Tisk, tisk, legendary level, still top grade, probably worth a lot of money, I won't be polite. Mu Hongxia swallowed a mouthful of saliva and looked at the several sacks on the ground in shock. It's so troublesome. Why can't I put this thing in the system backpack? When had she ever seen such a scene? Then he walked up to Nangong Ao and gave him a kick as well. But they underestimated the poisonous mist. Even if the mouth and nose are closed, it will penetrate through the skin. Others just received the sign. Junior brother Suren, why do you have everything? Suren waved his hand in front of Mu Hongxia. Mu Hongxia came back to her senses, shook her head and smiled bitterly. Cao Yan didn't know where he grabbed a few more signs. Seeing Suren come over and snatch away his signs, he felt like crying. After collecting all the point tokens from everyone, Suren stared at the sacks full of sacks on the ground for a moment. He was paralyzed now and couldn't move at all. He could only watch as Suren took away his sign. Suren didn't reply to his words. He walked up to Nangong Ao and Cao Yan, reached out and pulled off several plagues from their waists. The girl was handed over to Mu Hongxia. After all, Suren was not the kind of person to do bad things while others were immobilized. Let you take the lead in making things happen. And you, senior sister Mu, stop standing there stupidly and put away the sign. Suren recalled him to the pet space. In less than 10 seconds, the hall was so quiet that you could hear a pin drop. Suren put the knife into his backpack without forgetting to kick Cao Yan's little brother. Senior sister Mu, this bag belongs to you. I can't take so much. Well done. Master, the mission has been completed. They can see and hear, but they cannot move or speak. Their paralysis will be lifted in 2 hours. Nima, I just picked it up from a dead person. Looking at how arrogant you are, this weapon of yours belongs to me too. If this were taken out, everyone waiting outside the secret realm would go crazy. Suren complained, and then gave a sack to Mu Hongxia. Boy, I think you don't seem convinced. It's unthinkable to put a brand in a sack. Suren groped his way through the crowd. As long as he was a member of aristocratic families, he would accept all weapons brands. I have scolded Suren countless times in my heart. I changed my profession and became a concept god, shocking the world with one knife. Author, How Like the Human World. Chapter 252. Suren, how do we get out? Have you found the way? Mu Hongxia was carrying a sack. She didn't know whether she was shocked or frightened, and she could hardly speak clearly. I didn't find it. Let's dig a hole and get out. Suren walked to the wall of the main hall and activated his hole drilling skill, and a dark and empty hole appeared on the wall. Suren picked up a few sacks and waved goodbye to everyone. Goodbye everyone, I will take good care of your point tokens for you. Within the secret realm, a 2-meter-high hole was suddenly carved out of a rock at the foot of the mountain. Then a man and a woman came out holding 2 sacks. Junior brother Suren, what's going on? Mu Hongxia looked up. It is no longer night outside, but daytime. She remembered that it was just dark when they entered, and they didn't stay there for long. Why did it suddenly turn into daytime? Senior sister, the speed of time in the hall is wrong. It is estimated that 1 hour is 1 day. Suren had known this for a long time, but he didn't understand why the flow of time in the palace would speed up. An hour a day. Mu Hongzia thought of what Suran said when he summoned the pet beast. Junior Suran, did you deliberately let them stay in there for 2 hours? Because the assessment only lasts for 3 days, and 1 day has passed now, if the group of people stays in there for another 2 hours, this secret realm assessment trial will be over. They will finish with 0 points. Suren nodded. Yes, if you dare to rob me, teach them a lesson. Junior Suran, have you received any mission? Actually, with your strength, you don't need to anger those children of aristocratic families over and over again, right? Mu Hongzia had actually discovered that Suren was mainly targeting the children of aristocratic families. And every time he takes action, he borrows the power of others to deal with them, never taking action himself. In this way, everyone felt that Suren relied on external forces. Only she knew that Suren's own strength was far stronger than the external force he used. The Dowdy who was instantly killed by a knife is an example. It can be said that no one in the secret realm is the opponent of Dowdy, and only Suren can kill it with one sword. Senior Sister Mu, I didn't expect you to be quite smart. Why didn't I notice it before? When Mu Hongzia heard this, she immediately thought of Suren's deception, and her face turned red with embarrassment. She almost thought she was mentally ill. Go away, I won't talk to you anymore. Suren laughed and didn't mention it again. In the next 2 days, Suren didn't go anywhere, so he found a lakeside to hunt game and eat and drink every day. Seeing this, Mu Hongzia also followed Suren to show off. There were not many competitors anyway, so it didn't matter whether she could earn points or not. During the period, the two met some professionals who did not go to the top of the mountain. After seeing a few sacks next to the two of them, they ran away as if they were running away. It's so scary. Are these two male and female thieves? How many people's point tokens must be robbed? All packed in sacks. This matter quickly spread among the testers who did not go to the top of the mountain. At the foot of the mountain on the east side, there is a pair of male and female thieves who do not collect monster points, but only steal the points of professionals who participate in trials. It is said that nearly tens of thousands of people have been robbed. The more rumors spread, the more bizarre it became, causing many people to secretly take a look. This is real, brothers. I just secretly went over and watched it. It was so scary. There were several sacks of point tokens. I know those two people, Mu Hongzia from Longwu Guild, and that Suren. When the people from Longwu Guild heard the news, they made a special trip to confirm it. Among them were Su Xiao and Chen Fan, who had fought against Bangza country last time. Senior Sister Mu, Junior Suren, is it really you? Su Xiao led people over and saw Suren sitting there grilling fish. Mu Hongzia looked at the grilled fish eagerly from the side. In the past 2 days, she was completely convinced by Suren. Suren is not only powerful, but she also cooks delicious food. She has never eaten many baked goods. Senior brother Su, come and sit down. Suren still admired them. They stood up bravely in the face of Bangza's provocation. Su Xiao nodded and was about to find a rock to sit down when he accidentally discovered the sack sitting under Suren's butt. At the mouth of the sack, several points tokens glowed in waves under the reflection of the firelight. Su Xiao was about to sit down and immediately stood up again. He looked around and found a few sacks randomly thrown into the grass next to him. As expected, it was also full of point tokens. Seeing Su Xiao suddenly stood up again, Suren said doubtfully. Senior brother Su, sit down, why are you standing? My grilled fish will be ready soon. You guys should try it too. Huh? Oh, okay, okay. Su Xiao and the others looked at each other and sat down tremblingly. When I sat down, I didn't forget to take a look at the sacks. The rumors are all true. Junior Suren, isn't this a bit too fierce? Suren looked at the people while grilling the fish and said. Senior brother Su, How many points have you earned? We, we have been grinding monsters for the past 3 days, and each of us has racked up more than 1,000 points. Su Xiao replied. Only more than 1,000? That's too little. I see that each of you only has 1 point token. Isn't that enough? Let's do this. You can take these 2 bags of point tokens and divide them. I'm too lazy to take them. It will be very troublesome. Suren casually picked up 2 sacks in the grass nearby and threw them to them. Several people were stunned at this, looking at Suren stupidly, not knowing what to do next. What do you want me to do? Let's divide brands. The points you have are too few. Score more points. Don't embarrass the guild when you go out later. At this moment, Suren seemed to have become the bandit leader's senior brother, commanding the junior brothers to share the stolen goods. Mu Hongxia saw this and smiled. Suren tells you to take it, so just take it. He doesn't care about these things. Okay, okay. Su Xiao and others had to open the sacks and start distributing them. A brand represents a person. Their hands shaking when dividing the brands. The monsters they had worked so hard for 3 days were only worth 10 brands of points. How could this make them not frightened? Seeing that the 3-day trial in the secret realm is coming to an end, all the major families and guilds are waiting eagerly outside the secret realm. Everyone is discussing who can advance to the next round in this trial. At least 5 members of my Nangong family will be promoted. If not, my name will be written backwards. Nangong Wenchen looked confident. Haha, my Gu family has my great-grandson leading the team, and all 13 people will definitely advance. All major aristocratic families are bragging about their own family members. Only the person in charge this time, Wang Changjun, looked disdainful. With Suren here, do you still want to all advance? I'll just watch you bragging quietly here. I hope you can continue later. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I changed my profession and became a concept god, shocking the world with one knife. Author, How Like the Human World. Chapter 253. Come out, come out. As the people waiting outside the secret realm roared, everyone looked at the teleportation array at the exit of the secret realm. Some media reporters who have been approved to enter have also prepared shooting equipment and interview work. Everyone is waiting for the results of this year's secret realm assessment. After all, there are only 100 places this year. This is truly a single plank bridge with thousands of troops crossing it. Inside the Temple of Eternal Life. Before the people who had just lifted their paralysis had time to move, a sound sounded in their ears. The secret realm assessment is over, you will be forcibly teleported out within 10 seconds. Upon hearing this prompt, everyone was shocked. What's going on? Didn't we just come in 3 hours ago? Why is the assessment over? It's over, all our point tokens were taken away by that bastard Suren. By the time everyone realized this, it was already too late. This means everyone here has 0 points. This means that they will all be eliminated in the first round. Fuck, Suren and I are irreconcilable. Go out and report him, he cheated and brought in a master. If the man in green hadn't suddenly appeared and poisoned them, they wouldn't have been eliminated. That person is definitely over 25 years old. As long as they report successfully, they will definitely have a chance. Summoning beams of light lit up, and everyone in the hall was teleported out one after another. When everyone came out, countless pairs of eyes and lenses were given to them. Nangong Wenchen looked into the crowd and saw his son at a glance. Haha, my son is the first batch to come out, I must have gained a lot. Nangong Wenchen subconsciously looked at his son's waist. Because the point tokens could not be put into the system backpack, they were always hanging on his body. But at this glance, Nangong Wenchen frowned instantly. His son was clean and had nothing on him. Nangong Wenchen walked over in 2 steps and said in confusion. Aoer, where is your point token? Is it being kept by a servant? Nangong Wenchen looked at the Nangong family members. He didn't know what they were doing, and he was shocked when he saw them. No one has any point tokens on them. What happened? At this time, people from the Gu family, Cao family, and other families also discovered the problem. Not one of the thousands of people who came out in the first batch had a brand name on them. What happened? The sound of the ancient sword's sharp edge was like thunder, shaking the ears of everyone present. Now everyone realized something was wrong. Most of these are children from aristocratic families, and Gu Deyi, Nangong Ao and others are strong contenders for this year's championship. Now they come out without point tokens, which means they have been eliminated. It makes sense to eliminate one person, but it is too unreasonable to eliminate so many of them together. No one can steal so many people's tokens at the same time. Wu Zhenyang glanced at Wang Changjun and put his hand on his forehead, feeling a headache. Even thinking about it with his buttocks, he could guess that it was definitely Suren who did this. Except for Suren, who can take away all the brands of the children of these aristocratic families in one go. Minister Wang, what on earth are you doing? Wu Zhenyang didn't know the king's plan, but he always felt something was wrong. Wang Changjun chuckled and did not answer his question. Instead, he turned around and congratulated. Congratulations to President Wu. It seems that your Dragon Martial Arts Guild ranks first in the overall number of people who have advanced to the next round this year. Oh, you. Wu Zhenyang shook his head. Since Wang Changjun didn't say anything, there was a reason why he couldn't, and he stopped asking further. At this time, Nangong Ao and others were already talking about what happened. When he heard that Lin Shengan and Zhang Haisheng were massacring those who participated in the trial, Wu Zhenyang suddenly felt a chill in his back. Countless pairs of eyes looked at him. Lin Shengan was from the Longwu Guild. Everyone, I have something to say about this matter. With so many media reporters here, Wu Zhenyang had to stand up and explain. Mr. Shen said a few months ago that a monster had sneaked into Kyoto. Combined with Lin Shengan's behavior, I think the monster had already eaten Lin Shengan and transformed into his appearance and has been lurking in Kyoto. He is also responsible for the frequent disappearance of professionals in Kyoto. This is indeed a dereliction of duty by our Dragon Martial Arts Association. Wu Zhenyang bowed deeply to express his sincerity in apologizing. Everyone slowly told what happened next. We worked so hard that we finally killed all the puppets. Minister Wang, please explain. Everyone's eyes were turned to Wang Changjun. At this time a reporter asked. Sorry, wait a minute. Everyone, Wang Changjun, assure you that this trial is absolutely fair and just. We asked them to give some to everyone as hard-earned money, but they not only refused to agree, but also attacked us. I'm not saying you're lying. Let's wait until Suren comes out. As soon as Nangong Ao said these words, everyone was in an uproar. As for the so-called strong ones, it's just their one-sided opinion. This matter needs to be decided after others come out. Nangong Ao saw that everyone was paying attention, and couldn't help but add jealousy. Unexpectedly, Suren and Mu Hongxia from the Dragon Martial Arts Guild took the opportunity to steal all the treasures in the Temple of Immortality. All he can do now is to stabilize this group of people and wait until Suren comes out. Faced with everyone's questions, Wang Changjun also had a headache. The flow of time in the palace is abnormal. By the time we can move, the trial will be over. I want to hear your explanation, Minister Wang. What's in there? He didn't know exactly what method Suren used, and where he could explain it. Cao Yan also stood up and angrily said. Speaking of this, Nangong Ao pointed at Wang Changjun. Okay, let's wait for Suren to come out. How can you excuse him when I see him? The Temple of Immortality? Is there such a thing in the secret realm? Minister Wang, do you mean thousands of us lied together? Wang Changjun shook his head. But those aristocratic families don't care about this at all. They only care about who steals the brand of their juniors. That man just waved his hand, and thousands of us were unable to move. Originally they didn't dare, but there was a shady secret in this secret realm assessment. The official secretly let a master over 25 years old enter. Minister Wang, can you explain why people over 25 years old enter the secret realm? Every one of us can testify, we saw it all with our own eyes. Minister Wang, is the secret assessment really fair? This was what Nangang Ao was waiting for. There are thousands of you, and Suren and Mu Hongxia are just two people. How dare they attack you? Gu Jianfeng snorted coldly upon hearing this. Suren took this opportunity to not only steal our weapons, but also steal everyone's point tokens. I changed my profession and became a concept god, shocking the world with one knife. Author, how like the human world. Chapter 254. At this time, the portal flashed again. Another group of people teleported out, and Suren and other people from the Longwu Guild happened to be among them. Everyone looked intently and couldn't help but take a breath when they saw clearly the signs hanging on the Long Martial Arts Guild. Oh my god, so many brands. Damn it, isn't that sack in Suren's hand full of point tokens? What's the point? He must have done it. Perhaps everyone in the Dragon Martial Arts Guild participated. Look, each of them has at least dozens of signs on them. Wu Zhenyang should have been happy at this moment, but under the current situation, these brands have become a hot potato. Now everyone is staring at Longwu Guild and want a reasonable explanation. Suren, you are finally out. Cao Yan stared at Suren with an angry face. Oh, it turns out to be the eldest young master of the Cao family. Your knife is good and the grilled fish is very fragrant. You. Cao Yan was so angry that he almost spit out a mouthful of old blood. This is the first time in his life that he has seen someone more arrogant than him. Seeing Suren's fearless look, many people shook their heads and sighed. It's okay to be young and frivolous, but if you dare to offend so many big families at the same time, this is not frivolous, but seeking death. No matter how genius you are, you may not survive tonight facing the wrath of these big families. You are still too young and don't know the methods of these aristocratic families. Haha, I've seen this kind of people a lot. They get arrogant and arrogant after a little success. I don't know how they will die by then. No matter how this matter is resolved, I bet he won't survive tonight. If he offends these people from aristocratic families, the grass on their graves will be several meters high. Gu Jianfeng glanced at Suren, and then looked at Wang Changjun. Minister Wang, the people have come out. I want to see what your so-called fairness and justice mean. If you dare to show favoritism, don't blame us for being rude. Gu Jianfeng's words already had a threatening tone. The patriarch of an aristocratic family has dared to threaten the Minister of Defense, which shows that Gu Jianfeng does not take Wang Changjun seriously at all. Now that he has succeeded in his 9th rank, he is not afraid of anyone in the Dragon Kingdom except for those few people outside Tianwei. This is the confidence of his Gu family. Wang Changjun narrowed his eyes. Although there was anger in his heart, he did not show it. Suren, what happened to the strong man in green? Upon hearing this question, Suren roughly understood what was happening outside. It must be that these people didn't get the points and felt that they were cheating. They were unconvinced and wanted to make trouble with Wang Changjun. However, Suren had already thought of the reasons before using the Poison Dragon King on this issue. Thinking of this, Suren waved his hand, and the Poison Dragon King in human form appeared next to Suren again. Nangang Ao and others shouted when they saw this. This is the man who paralyzed us all. Everyone looked at the Poison Dragon King. This person was dressed in dark green clothes, and green smoke was emitting from his body. People who were close could not help but take a few steps back before they stopped fearing in their hearts. This person gave them an unspeakable sense of fear. Wang Changjun, do you have anything else to say? Gu Jianfeng glanced at the Poison Dragon King and knew that this man was no ordinary person. Wang Changjun looked at Suran, who smiled softly and said, "Is there a rule against bringing pet animals into the secret realm?" "What do you mean? You don't want to tell us that this person is your pet, do you? Do you think your reason is reasonable? Why is it unreasonable? If you don't believe it, then I'll share some of its information with you." Suran thought, and an information data panel about the Poison Dragon King appeared above its head. All information columns were hidden by Suran, and only the owner column was clearly visible. "How is it possible, Master Suran? Isn't he a human? How could he become Suran's pet beast? I don't believe it, you make other information about him public." Suran heard this and took the Poison Dragon King in. "The facts are before our eyes. Whether you believe it or not is none of my business. You aristocratic families can't afford to lose, right? Anyway, the evidence has been shown to them now, so what if they don't accept it? Come and kill me if you can." Suren hoped that they would take action quickly, so that there would be a reason. But with so many people watching, these aristocratic families would naturally not do anything in public. Now that Suren has thrown the evidence in their faces, they have no excuse. Wang Changjun straightened his back and announced loudly, "Now that the matter has been clarified, there are no problems in this trial. Next, all trialists will come and hand in your point tokens. The top 100 will advance to the next round. As for the trialists who died in the secret realm, we will try to find their remains in a later period of time." After Wang Changjun finished speaking, all the testers began to submit tokens to register points in an orderly manner. "Haha, do I have a chance? There are so many people without point tokens, maybe I still have a chance to enter the top 100. One person looked at his points token in surprise. He thought he must have been eliminated. Who would have thought that there are thousands of people who don't even have a brand? Many people looked at Suren gratefully. Suren's move directly reduced their number of competitors by thousands. But the children of those aristocratic families didn't have a good face. "Dad, are you going to let him go like this?" Outside the crowd, Nangong Ao looked at Suren with hatred. "Huh, let him go? I won't let him survive tonight. But I have to discuss this matter with several other companies. If there is an accident, there will be someone to help us bear the pressure." After Nangong Wenchen finished speaking, he walked towards where the Gu family and the Cao family were. Together, they don't know what they are plotting. After everyone submitted their score tokens, Wang Changjun first announced the score rankings for the Secret Realm assessment. Suren won the first place without any accident, and from 2nd to 10th place, everyone was from the Longwu Guild. It can be said that Longwu Guild rounded up the top 10. There is no way, there are many brands, it is just willful. Those few big losers from the major aristocratic families are destined to become the biggest joke this year if they are reported together. Ha 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 ha, okay. When Wu Zhenyang saw this result, he almost smiled. In this secret realm assessment, his Longwu Guild became the biggest winner. Everyone, tomorrow this year's national competition will be held at the top of Daoshan Mountain, and the top 5 will be selected to represent the Dragon Kingdom in the World Championships. The eliminated testers can also stay to observe and learn. When saying this, Wang Changjun also took a special look at the place where the Gu family was. Gu Jianfeng didn't take him seriously just now, so he naturally felt disgusted with Gu Jianfeng. "Okay, the secret realm trial is over. You can teleport to the Daoshan secret realm. We have prepared a residence there. I changed my profession and became a concept god, shocking the world with one knife." Author, how like the human world. Chapter 255. Outside World. When the results of this year's Secret Realm assessment were announced, everyone who paid attention to the trial was shocked. The most outstanding juniors from major families who were favored before the trial ended up with 0 points. Suren, who ranked first in the Secret Realm this round, also caused a lot of controversy. Because this name has disappeared from the internet for a long time. This time the trial actually appeared again. Isn't Suren the one who just awakened this year? How come he participated in this year's trial? Before the trial, few people knew that Suren would participate in this year's trial, so they were particularly confused. And he also took first place. Is this a mistake? Wrong? Absolutely not wrong. Have you seen the top 10 people? They are all from the Dragon Martial Arts Guild. According to rumors, these people only made it to the top 10 because Suren gave them point tokens. Moreover, Suren stole these brands from the children of major aristocratic families. Now you know why those children of aristocratic families have 0 points. Damn it, is this news true? It's a bit too outrageous. I remember that the last time I heard about Suren was when he broke into the Babel Tower and cleared the 40th floor with the help of Lord Sword God. Can his personal strength now crush many geniuses? Many people still find this result unbelievable. After all, Suren has only been practicing for a few months. And whoever participated in the trial had not practiced for several years. His own strength is only about that. I heard that he has a humanoid beast that can instantly paralyze everyone. Those children from aristocratic families didn't pay attention and that's why they suffered from him. If we really have to fight head-on, I don't think so. After all, according to reports, Suren can't turn 3. The next competition at the top of Dao Mountain is the time to truly test one's personal strength. Then we will know what his specific strength is. While the outside world was buzzing with discussions, everything was quiet in Daoshan, the secret realm of the finals of this national trial. Dao Mountain is a towering mountain in the small world of Dao realm, with an altitude of over 1,000 feet. The top of Daoshan is flat and open and has long been developed into a competition venue. The Dragon Kingdom's national trial finals are held here every year. Some people become famous here, while others shed tears here. This is the place that countless young people in the Dragon Kingdom dream of. Now, it has once again welcomed countless young people pursuing their dreams. The foot of Tao Mountain. Tens of thousands of houses are built on the mountain, clustered at the foot of the mountain. All houses are divided into upper 3 floors and lower 6 floors based on altitude. The upper 3 floors of houses are independently located on the mountainside, with 1 room per person. They are used by candidates who have entered this round and important figures from various major forces. The lower 6 floors are located at the foot of the mountain, where people who come to watch the game, media reporters, and people who maintain order live. In a building at the foot of the mountain. Cao Yan became very angry when he saw this messy environment. Originally he was able to live in a house on the mountainside, but now that he has become a spectator, he can only live in a house at the foot of the mountain. Because of the large number of people who came to watch the game, even with the strength of his Cao family, it was impossible to be allocated an independent residence. He could only squeeze in with other people. In a room less than 30 square meters, Cao Yan was discussing something with his younger brothers. At this time, there was a knock on the door, and then a middle-aged man walked in. It was Cao Yan's uncle Cao Bufan. Uncle Clan, is something wrong? Cao Yan was a little impatient when he saw Cao Bufan. Xiao Yan, did you listen to the Nangong family and go deal with Suren? So what? This matter has nothing to do with you, just pretend you don't know. Cao Yan did not deny it. Cao Bufan frowned after hearing this, and then persuaded him earnestly. Xiao Yan, I told you not to provoke Suren, why didn't you listen? Didn't you see in this secret trial that his strength is beyond your ability to deal with? Enough. Cao Yan interrupted Cao Bufan with a loud shout. I don't know what happened to you, but you are so cowardly that I am very disappointed. When have our Cao family ever been afraid of others? Only my Cao family can bully others. No one dares to bully us. Then Suren has made me lose face, I will kill him. Thinking that his results in today's trial would be laughed at forever, the anger in Cao Yan's heart never went out. Seeing how stubborn his nephew was, Cao Bufan couldn't help but sigh and said, do you know how terrifying Suren's true strength is? But they didn't dare to refute Cao Bufan's words like Cao Yan. He decided to force the person to stay here and take the person away directly after the competition tomorrow. It was time for him to leave. After hearing this, Cao Yan and others were stunned for a moment, but the next second, Cao Yan smiled disdainfully and said. Cao Bufan was immobilized by the light of the universe mirror and could only watch them leave. Cao Yan took out a mirror from his system backpack, and then softly chanted the formula. That arrogant blood demon overwhelmed the owner of Liulai Island and left him breathless. Uncle Clan, just stay here and wait for my good news. Look how I took off Suren's head. You stay in this room tonight and you are not allowed to go anywhere. Uncle, I think you are confused. As a newly awakened person, you told me that he instantly killed an extraterrestrial demon above level 900? And he was also the most difficult blood demon among the extraterrestrial demons. Even if the Cao family and Donghai Academy united, they would never be able to offend him. Cao Yan was the hope of his generation, and he couldn't watch him die here. Kinkan Mirror, why did you bring this thing out? Cao Bufan had to tell everything that happened at that time. At most, I can only say a few words in my heart. He was killed by Suren with one strike. Cao Yan waved his hand, and several people in the room followed him outside. Several other people also shook their heads slightly when they heard this. Do you understand that if you go to trouble him, you're going to die? Cao Yan looked at the time and saw that the time agreed with several others was almost here. Do you know what you're talking about? The reason why he didn't want to mention this matter after returning to Donghai Academy was because he was afraid that his family would come out to cause trouble for Suren. Haha, uncle, although you are a 7th rank master, if you want to keep me, you can't keep me. Do you still need to use that despicable trick to deal with them? He knew that the Cao family had offended someone they shouldn't have offended this time. He didn't believe a word of what Cao Bufan said. Seeing that Cao Yan refused to listen, Cao Bufan said anxiously. The Cao family is finished. That was an unforgettable scene in his life. From that moment on, he knew that Suren must not be messed with. Cao Bufan was shocked when he saw this mirror. At this time, his heart was filled with despair and his face was filled with despair. If Suren is really so powerful, why would he participate in any trial? But he didn't expect that what he was worried about happened. Thinking of what happened on Liulai Island, Cao Bufan was scared now. Before he could react, a beam of light shone in the mirror and enveloped him. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I changed my profession and became a concept god, shocking the world with one knife. Author, How Like the Human World. Chapter 256. In a pavilion at the foot of Daoshan Mountain. People from the Nangong family and the Gu family have already gathered here. Seeing these two families here, others did not dare to come over and could only watch from a distance. Why are the Gu family and the Nangong family still together? It's probably about sharing the experience of getting 0 points, ha ha ha. SHH, brother, do you want your life? How dare you say such nonsense? What are you afraid of? They can't hear you from such a distance. Be careful. Walls have ears. If you mess with a family like theirs, you won't even know how you'll die. After the man finished speaking, he quickly left here. He didn't dare to talk about people from these big families behind their backs. In the pavilion, Nangong Ao stood up and took a look, saying with some dissatisfaction, "What is that guy Cao Yan doing? We agreed to meet here at 5 o'clock, why haven't you come yet?" Gu Dei sat on the wooden chair with his eyes closed and said nothing. But the uneasiness in his heart became stronger and stronger. Why is this happening? Gu Dei was confused. Grandpa has already gone with the head of the Nangong family to hold off Wang Changjun and the others. There shouldn't be any flaws in tonight's plan. Why am I always uneasy? Could something big happen in this small world? From the beginning to the end, Gu Deo did not place his uneasiness on the matter of attacking and killing Suren. Just when Nangong Ao complained again, Cao Yan appeared in the distance with his younger brothers. When Cao Yan and others approached, Nangong Ao said displeasedly, "Why so slow? You asked our two families to wait for you. Everyone is from a big family, and no one can obey anyone, so naturally Nangong Ao will not look good on Cao Yan. Something happened that delayed some time. It's not yet night, what are you in a hurry for?" Cao Yan calmly walked to the pavilion and sat down. "Have you brought anything?" Nangong Ao asked. Upon hearing this, Gu Deo also opened his eyes and looked at Cao Yan. Cao Yan nodded, took out the universe mirror and waved it in front of his eyes. This mirror is the key to whether he can attack Suren tonight. Because the upper 3 floors are protected and isolated by formations, people on the lower 6 floors cannot go up at all. The Cao family's universe mirror can not only control people, but can also forcibly break a corner of the formation without being discovered. It can even take people thousands of miles away in an instant, which is a blessing from the universe and has endless magical uses. I've long heard how powerful your Cao family's universe mirror is. It's up to you tonight. Haha, don't worry, I will never let you down. But what is the strength of the people you bring? Nangong Ao pointed to the 4 people standing a few meters away from the pavilion and said. The 4 of them are called demons and monsters. They are all masters close to level 8. Together they can even kill professionals who are new to level 8. It's more than enough to deal with Suren. When Cao Yan heard this, he looked over and saw that the 4 of them were all wrapped in black clothes, with a faint murderous aura oozing out of their bodies. Cao Yan was a little surprised and said. The monster that massacred a whole city 30 years ago? The official wanted him for 30 years, but he couldn't be found. I didn't expect that he was taken in by your Nangong family. You are quite brave, you dare to take them in. Nangong Ao laughed when he heard this. I'm afraid your Cao family has no fewer people like us than our Nangong family. Cao Yan did not refute this. Which big family like theirs didn't take in such a desperado? Someone has to deal with the dirty work, and these people are the best tools. Where is the Gu family? What did you produce? Attacking and killing the person who ranks first in the secret realm assessment is definitely not a trivial matter. Unsurprisingly, this incident will definitely cause a sensation across the country. Therefore, Cao Yan must ensure that the other 2 families also participate, so that the Cao family will not face the pressure alone. Facing Cao Yan's question, Gu Dei replied calmly. I took action myself, that's enough. Cao Yan didn't ask any more questions after hearing this. Since Gu Dei wanted to take action himself, he didn't need to say anything more. Then now, we just have to wait for it to get dark. The 3 of them looked at the sky in the small world, and the light covering the earth was slowly fading. Before long, darkness will cover the land, and that's when they take action. Mu Hongxia heard this and murmured softly. Suren has left the hall, you can take action now. Wu Zhenyang smiled bitterly and shook his head, picked up a glass of wine and drank it. Oh. Senior Sister Mu, what are you thinking about? This is their only chance to meet so many great people at the same time. Ever since Mu Hongxia saw that woman, she would dream about her every night. What I said is that our houses are close, let's go back together. By the way, her name is Luo Yuxian. This name should be the name of her true body, because there is only her clone in that palace. This is a great opportunity for civilian professionals. Let's go together. Su Ren nodded, said hello to Wu Zhenyang before leaving, and left the hall with Mu Hongxia. Luo Yuxian. Now that he was full, Su Ren didn't want to stay here for a moment. She didn't know why, it confused her. Nothing, Su Ren, do you know the name of the woman in the Temple of Eternal Life? Name. But Su Ren didn't need these things. He just sat alone in a corner and ate the delicious food in front of him. Su Ren thought for a moment, and it seemed that the immortal Gu Mother had told her what the woman's name was. Seeing her in a daze, Su Ren couldn't help but wonder. In a magnificent hall halfway up Daoshan Mountain, many representatives of major forces were toasting and drinking. It looked very lively. The triolists who entered the top 100 were also lucky enough to attend this party. This guy is a bit carefree. There are two others in the guild. Why are he and Mu Hongxia together now? Wu Zhenyang took a look and couldn't help but smile. Mu Hongxia fell into deep thought again. Seeing this, Su Ren did not continue to ask questions, but was eating on his own. If someone takes a fancy to their potential, they might even win them over and give them training resources. At this time, on the other side of the hall, when Nangong Wenchen saw Su Ren leaving, he quietly took out his mobile phone and sent a message. When Mu Hongxia heard that Su Ren was going back to her room, she also stood up and said, "Well, I was still too honest when I was young. If I were half as shameless as Su Ren, I wouldn't be alone now." The party was halfway through, but Su Ren was already full. Seeing Su Ren staring at her, Mu Hongxia immediately realized that there was an ambiguity in the sentence, so she quickly explained. Mu Hongxia shook her head. Mu Hongxia naturally does not need to curry favor with those powerful people. Although her Mu family is not an aristocratic family, it does not lack financial resources. Half an hour later, the sky outside had already darkened. Ah! I changed my profession and became a concept god, shocking the world with one knife. Author, How Like the Human World. Chapter 257. In Daoshan at night, the lights are brightly lit from the mountainside to the foot of the mountain, and the noise at the foot of the mountain can be heard even from the mountainside. Standing on the mountainside, looking at the hazy night in the distance, feeling the breeze. It's like being in the world but not in the world. On the plank road on the mountainside, two figures, a man and a woman, were walking slowly forward. Junior Su Ren, if one day your strength reaches its peak and you are allowed to roam the world, what do you want to do? Mu Hongxia gently pulled her hair and asked while tilting her head. Su Ren had never thought about this question. After hearing her question, he thought for a while, raised his head and looked at the night sky and said, "Maybe explore the mysteries of this infinite universe. Human beings are so insignificant. Ordinary people can't get out of that city or state in their lifetime. If I have the chance, I will go out and take a look, see the beauty and grandeur of the universe, and see what kind of scenery is outside the universe." When Mu Hongxia heard this, she also raised her head and looked up at the stars, but she didn't think so much. Tianhui is a forbidden field surrounded by countless extraterrestrial demons. Humanity is lucky to be able to hold on to Blue Star, let alone go to the so-called starry sky in the universe. Mu Hongxia thought of the senior sword god who left Blue Star. Maybe he had the same idea as Su Ren. Junior Su Ren, with your strength, you should be able to realize your idea soon. Su Ren shook his head. Only he knows his current situation. Although his attack is unparalleled, if he wants to travel in the universe, his attack power is useless. The most important thing is a particularly strong life-saving means. I just don't know what skills the third transfer will give me. When this trial competition is over, Suren will go to the Sakura country as soon as possible to collect the scales of the Yamata no Orokai to complete the third turn. There is a wide area at the exit of the plank road. People from the three major families have already broken through the formation and are lurking here. Looking at the two figures walking slowly on the plank road, someone whispered. They're coming. Mu Hongxia is here too, do you want to kill her together? Kill. When Suren and the two were about to walk out of the plank road, four figures were killing them at extremely fast speeds. The four demons and monsters walked like ghosts and directly chose this small corner to do their thing. Even if Suren wanted to escape, they could only retreat because there was a steep rock wall above and a cliff below. However, their speed was so fast that it was almost impossible to retreat and escape. This is a sure blow to most people. But they made a mistake in their calculations. Suren was not an ordinary person. The moment he saw the strange movement, Suren had already drawn out the 1,000 blades of the demonic sword as quickly as possible and slashed it out. The unparalleled sword light flashed under the night sky, and the dagger in the demon's hand was almost piercing Suren's heart, eyebrows, and neck. But almost is almost. They also didn't expect why the four of them couldn't even take one knife. I thought I could kill this young man even if I took the knife forcefully. But everything was beyond their expectation. In the end, the bodies of the four people took turns rolling down the cliff, completely dying here. What's going on? Nangong Ao stood up with a look of disbelief. He knew the strength of the demons and monsters best, and the four of them ate and lived together, almost as one. Especially good at this kind of ambush and sneak attack. The assassination missions assigned to them have never failed before. But why are they the ones dying now, while Suren is standing there perfectly fine? Four masters who were close to rank 8 died like this? This moment subverted their cognition and completely destroyed the defense in their hearts. Don't worry so much, Gu Dei, why don't you take action? Cao Yan shouted anxiously. In fact, before he could speak, Gu Dei had already taken action. I saw a shadow appearing behind him, holding a sword and slashing out with a sword. But his target was not Suren, but the suspended plank road. Boom! There was a loud bang. The plank road was originally made of wood, but it fell apart after being slashed by this sword. Along with the plank road, patches of rocks collapsed. Suren had just finished killing the four black figures, but he didn't know there was someone behind him. He was unprepared. He and Mu Hongxia both fell off the cliff. Gu Dei, what are you doing? Why don't you attack Suren? Nangong Ao and Cao Yan looked at him, wanting an explanation. Gu Dei's chest was beating wildly at this moment, and the uneasiness was about to burst out of his chest. Judging from Suren's killing of demons just now, he was sure that Suren was the person who made him feel strongly uneasy. Seeing the two of them questioning him, Gu Dei said angrily in a rare way. Idiot, he can kill demons instantly. Do you think we are his match? Seeing that Wang Changjun was about to step out to check, Nangong Wenchen came over holding a wine glass. But just as the few people turned around and prepared to escape, a voice as cold as winter sounded behind them. Maybe they will dare to assassinate the king tomorrow. If the target is Suren, I'm afraid not many of the three major aristocratic families will survive. Nangong Wenchen looked puzzled, then smiled, and said. If it weren't for those boys who held Wang Changjun back, he would never have come over and said such a thing. Minister Wang, you and I haven't had a drink yet, where do you want to go? Just now the sound of the ancient road breaking up the rocks on the plank road came over. It's no wonder that the king tried every means to get rid of these aristocratic families. Today they dared to attack and kill the student who ranked first in this year's Secret Realm assessment. Combining the two, Wang Changjun immediately understood. Want to leave now? It's too late. Minister Wang, I was in a mood of excitement during the day, so my words were very offensive. You shouldn't blame me, right? At this time Gu Jianfeng also came over. If their target was Mu Hongxia, he would still be nervous. Minister Wang, your excuse is not very good. There was no explosion. I think you were drunk and hallucinating. The two of them were awakened by his words and reacted immediately. He was very sensitive to sounds, so he heard the noise immediately. Wang Changjun, who was still chatting and drinking with others, suddenly frowned and looked in the direction of the explosion sound. You must know that this is Daoshan, a place that attracts national attention in the Dragon Kingdom. Wang Changjun never expected that these big families would be so bold and dare to take action in Daoshan. These aristocratic families are so courageous. It looks like they are going to attack and kill Suran. Wang Changjun was confused when he saw the two of them coming together. However, Wang Changjun was not panic at all at this time, and even wanted to laugh a little in his heart. With billions of eyes staring here every year, it can be said that anything that happens here will be known to the whole country. Look at the half-smiling expressions on the two people's faces, combined with the direction of the sound they just heard. That was the location of the residence he prepared for Suran. This is no longer bold, but crazy. No matter what method Suran used, he did indeed kill the demons and monsters. Now he just wants Suran to leave a few people alive, as long as the evidence is conclusive. The crime of assaulting and killing candidates was enough for several wealthy families. Halfway up the mountain, people gathered in the main hall. Gu Jianfeng was saying words of apology, but there was no regret in his eyes. Leave quickly, if he is not thrown to death, none of us can leave. Master Nangong, didn't you hear the explosion just now? I changed my profession and became a concept god, shocking the world with one knife. Author, How Like the Human World. Chapter 258. Next to the broken plank road. When Cao Yan and others heard the words behind them, they couldn't help but break out in cold sweat. Suren is not dead. When they slowly turned around, they saw Suren and Mu Hongxia sitting on the head of a giant frost dragon, looking at them with cold eyes. Who did I think it was? It turned out to be you. When Suren saw a few people, his originally cold face suddenly laughed. It really took no effort to get it, and there was a reasonable reason for daring to sneak attack and assassinate him. Except for the Cao family, the heads of the other two families of the three major families are all in the small world of Daoshan. Just catch them all in one go and save yourself the trouble. What kind of monster is this? Is it a dragon? People from the three major families looked at the giant dragon in the sky in shock. The timid ones may even be overwhelmed by the dragon's power. Wasn't it promised that killing Suren would be as simple as slaughtering a dog? Why is this different from what you imagined? Suren. Do you think I'm really afraid of you? Cao Yan shouted to embolden himself, then took out the universe mirror and recited a few spells silently. He had to do something, otherwise he might not be able to leave here alive today. At this time, he already regretted why he didn't listen to his uncle's words. When Nangong Ao saw Cao Yan take out the universe mirror, his initially frightened mood suddenly became lighter. Haha, I almost forgot that Cao Yan still has this thing. Hurry and control him and let's work together to kill him. However, the scene Nangong Ao imagined did not appear. Cao Yan muttered something softly, then looked at Suren in fear and pointed the universe mirror at himself. A beam of light shot out and landed on Cao Yan. Cao Yan's body began to slowly disappear when the light hit him. Huh? Want to leave? Suren couldn't let him go, so he slashed him with a knife. However, when the sword light was about to strike Cao Yan had already disappeared along with the universe mirror. Just when everyone thought Cao Yan had run away, the sword light that Suren slashed out turned around and cut through the void and got in. This scene not only shocked everyone present. Even Suren himself was shocked. He knew that if he used the sword, the person he wanted to kill would die, but this was the first time Suren saw a person who escaped through space being chased by the light of the sword. This sword seemed to be in perfect drawing and slashing state, because it cut through the void. Before I drew the sword, I was still skilled at drawing the sword. It was not a complete conceptual skill. Once it is slashed out, the sword light that is slashed out is already a conceptual sword, and nothing can stop it. You can't escape even if you travel through time and space. Suren nodded slightly and had a new definition of his sword draw. In a room at the foot of the mountain. As soon as Cao Bufin resumed his actions, the space in the room fluctuated. Cao Yan emerged from the void holding the universe mirror. Xiao Yan, what are you doing? Seeing Cao Yan suddenly running back, Cao Bufin was a little surprised. He thought Cao Yan had figured out how to give up assassinating Suren. Just as Cao Yan was about to open his mouth to speak, the space in the room suddenly cracked open, and then a sword light flew out and struck Cao Yan with a slash. Cao Yan opened his mouth and looked at the gap in his chest with a blank expression. Uncle, I regret so much. Cao Yan stretched out his hand and tried hard to grab something, but in the end he couldn't grab anything. Ding dong. The universe mirror fell to the floor with a crisp sound. Darkness swept over him, and Cao Yan's consciousness also fell silent. Xiao Yan. Cao Bufin rushed over and helped him. When he checked, Cao Yan was already dead. Looking at the gap made by the sword on Cao Yan's chest, Cao Bufin knew. Except for Suren, no one could kill Cao Yan in this way. But even if he knew the murderer, so what, he couldn't and didn't dare to seek revenge against Suren. The only thing he can do now is to take Cao Yan's body and leave here quickly and return to Cao's house. Cao Bufin picked up the Kinkin mirror that fell on the ground and recited a spell with tears in his eyes. The universe mirror glowed brightly, wrapping the two of them and disappearing together. Inside the mountainside hall, Nangong Wenchen looked at the time in confusion. A long time had passed. Why hasn't his son returned with the news? Master Nangong, is there anything important you need to do? I see you are checking your watch frequently. Wang Changjun asked casually. No, it's nothing, I'm just used to watching the time. I see. In that case, how about we sit down and talk about our official cooperation with your family? Both of them are the patriarchs of a large family that dominates one side. From now on, the order of the Dragon Kingdom will depend on them. The two families didn't dare to accept Wang Changjun's words. No matter how arrogant they are, they cannot be so arrogant that the order of the Dragon Kingdom needs to be managed by them. Because this is what the authorities do. If they accepted this, it would be no different than admitting to treason. Of course Wang Changjun also knew that they did not dare to accept this. His purpose was just to hold them back. Just now you tried to hold me back from going out to check, now you can't even think of leaving. He was very confident about Suren's strength. For the juniors from the three major families, there is no difference between daring to provoke Suren and risking death. Minister Wang is serious. How can we have such a thing as the hegemony you mentioned? What we do is reasonable and legal, and we resolutely safeguard the interests of the Dragon Kingdom. As for maintaining order, that's your business, Minister Wang. We don't dare to do it for you. Oh, is that so? Wang Changjun nodded. If you two really want to do this, it's really a blessing for our dragon country. It was Wang who said the wrong thing. Come on, I'll punish myself with a drink. Wang Changjun picked up his wine glass and glanced at the two of them, then drank it all in one gulp. The two of them had to drink too. Bump. Bump. Several sounds of hitting the ground sounded outside the hall. It was accompanied by several screams. Everyone in the hall who was changing cups was stunned for a moment, and then they all looked outside the hall. What happened? Is anyone drinking and causing trouble? At this time, a person hurriedly ran into the hall, found Wang Changjun and said loudly, "Mr. Minister, Suren has arrested several young men from the Gu family and the Nangong family, and is asking the heads of the two families outside the palace to give an explanation and an explanation." When Wang Changjun heard this, he looked surprised on the outside, but he was overjoyed in his heart. "Oh! Come with me to go out and see what's going on." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I changed my profession and became a concept god, shocking the world with one knife. Author, How Like the Human World. Chapter 259. Everyone followed Wang Changjun out of the hall. As soon as they walked out of the palace, they saw a giant dragon standing outside the palace. The dragon's sharp claws were pressing down on Nangong Ao and Gu Dei. Next to it were more than a dozen corpses lying in various directions, all of them from the three major families. Nangong Ao and Gu Dei were covered in blood and moaning in pain. Seeing everyone coming out, Nangong Ao raised his head and shouted for help. "Father, save me quickly." Nangong Wenchen had just left the palace and became furious when he saw this scene. His most beloved son was actually beaten like this. If it were any later, Nangong Ao would probably die in front of him. Court death. Nangong Wenchen took out his two swords and stepped forward to strike at the Ice Dragon King's head. He didn't care whether this thing was the legendary dragon or not. Now he only had one idea, and that was to save his son's life. Seeing that this man dared to draw his sword and strike at him, the Ice Dragon King spit out a breath of absolute freezing air with his backhand. Nangong Wenchen was shocked when he saw this, and crossed his swords to block, but was still rushed back. This is. After Nangong Wenchen stood firm on the ground, he wanted to take action again, but found that the two swords in his hands were slowly being frozen. It only took a moment for the pain to spread to his arms. Keng. A sword sound sounded. The invisible sword energy slashed through, and Nangong Wenchen's body that was about to be frozen became free again. "Master Nangong, are you okay?" Gu Jianfeng took action. "Thank you, Mr. Gu, for saving me." Nangong Wenchen cupped his hands and looked at the giant dragon in front of him with some fear. He couldn't even take one of the opponent's moves. Gu Jianfeng waved his hand casually, then raised his head to look at the giant dragon. Although he is also worried about the safety of his great-grandson, this is a dragon, and he does not dare to take action rashly before he understands the opponent's strength. Nangong Wenchen was lucky and rushed forward without saying a word. But thanks to him exploring the way, Gu Jianfeng roughly understood the strength of this giant dragon. At this time, others had already opened their mouths in surprise. There is a dragon in Daoshan, and they don't even know about it? What did the people from these famous families do to provoke this dragon? Because the dragon's head was too big, they couldn't see Suren standing on it when they looked up. They thought it was the children of these aristocratic families who had offended the dragon. Only those who were standing next to Wang Changjun could clearly hear that Suren was speaking outside. But they didn't see Suren either. At this time, the Ice Dragon King spoke, but instead of talking to them, he spoke to Suren standing on top of the dragon. "Master, this old man has some strength, I may not be able to defeat him." What the Ice Dragon King is best at is bullying the weak and fearing the strong. As long as the opponent's strength is about the same as it or just a little stronger, it will be intimidated. Sword users have been professionals in unparalleled attacks since ancient times. Gu Jianfeng's attack power at level 9 is naturally nothing to say. Useless things. Suren took a step forward, revealing half of his figure. When everyone saw this, they couldn't help but exclaimed, "I'll go, isn't that Suren? Why is he on top of this dragon?" Oh my god, he can't be the owner of this dragon, can he? While everyone was still guessing, Suren had already said loudly. People from the Gu family, the Cao family, and the Nangong family ambushed and killed me on the mountainside plank road. If I hadn't been strong enough, I might have been a corpse by now. In this regard, I would like to ask the two family patriarchs, how should you give me an explanation? Suren signaled to the Ice Dragon King. After understanding the situation, the Ice Dragon King pressed Nangong Ao and Gu Dei under his claws again. Ah! Both of them let out a scream, their expressions extremely painful. Stop! Gu Jianfeng looked up at Suren coldly. He didn't expect that the plan would fail. Even if it failed, he would be caught and humiliated in front of so many people. How does this make his Gu family lose face? Nangong Wenchen looked at his son with distress at this time. But he didn't dare to go there anymore, this dragon was not something he could deal with. Now he can only rely on Gu Jianfeng to take action. Isn't Suren too brave? When have these two families ever received such an insult? Now Suren has completely offended them. But I can't say for sure who will lose and who will win. This dragon looks very strong. Then Nangong Wenchen is a level 8 to 80 existence. Even he is no match for this dragon. I'm afraid it won't end well today. Everyone was talking about it. Wang Changjun didn't say anything at this time. He just stood aside and watched the show after coming out. After Suren finished speaking, Wang Changjun looked at Gu Jianfeng and the others with a sullen face and said, "Two clan leaders, may I ask what is going on? You are too brave to openly attack and kill the genius of our dragon kingdom, and you are still in this mountain, right? Are you ignoring the laws of the dragon kingdom? Or are you trying to rebel? Do you want to kill me, the Minister of Defense, too?" Wang Changjun slapped all kinds of labels on them, no matter how serious it was. After saying that, he didn't forget to secretly give Suren a thumbs up. It was the right choice for Suren to stay alive, so that he could take the opportunity to attack. Wu Zhenyang couldn't help but twitch his mouth when he saw the tense scene between the two sides. Did Wang Changjun drink too much? How could this matter be escalated to this level? Even the label of being a rebel has been thrown off. Why do you feel that Wang Changjun and Suren are in harmony? He always felt that there was an unspeakable secret between the two of them, but he had no evidence. At this time, everyone looked at Gu Jianfeng and the two of them, wanting to see how they would answer. Gu Jianfeng glanced at his great-grandson, and there were vague signs of a riot. The sound of swords rang out in the sky and the earth, gradually surrounding everyone. Upon seeing this, Wang Changjun couldn't help but frown and stared at Gu Jianfeng intently. Is this old man trying to kill the fish or break the net? Thinking of this, Wang Changjun couldn't help but become more vigilant. Seeing something was wrong, Wu Zhenyang silently took out his weapon. If Gu Jianfeng dared to take action against Suren, he would also take action against Gu Jianfeng without hesitation. But in the end Gu Jianfeng didn't take action. Gu Jianfeng retracted his sword and snorted coldly. They just heard that Suren was very powerful, and they were itching to come to him for discussion and communication. Who would have thought that there would be a misunderstanding? If you let my great-grandson go, our Gu family is willing to compensate you for everything you need. Anyway, no one else saw it from beginning to end, so Gu Jianfeng made up a reason casually. This explanation will sound false to others upon hearing it. You used some unknown method to come to the mountainside late at night, just to spar with Suren? Who would believe this? But Suren's unilateral statement could not prove that he was here to assassinate him. Now Gu Dei has promised to compensate. In the eyes of everyone, this is Suren's purpose. It's impossible that what you want is his great-grandson's life, right? Just when everyone thought Suren would let Gu Dei and Nangong Ao go, Suren said coldly. Misunderstanding? What a misunderstanding! Then what do you think about this misunderstanding? As soon as Suren finished speaking, the Ice Dragon King stepped down heavily with his claws. I changed my profession and became a concept god, shocking the world with one knife. Author, how like the human world. Chapter 260. Ah! Two screams sounded at the same time. Gu Dei and Nangong Ao died at the same time. Suren looked indifferent, and he had no intention of letting them go. He just wanted to completely anger the patriarchs of these two families. Seeing this scene, everyone present changed their expressions. How dare he? Is Suren crazy? Isn't this looking for death? This is too crazy. This is the proud son of the younger generation of the two families, and he died like this. And he still died in front of the heads of the two major families. Crazy, completely crazy. Suren is dead, no one can save him. Mu Hongxia, who was standing behind Suren, was also shocked and stunned. She originally thought that Suren had arrested these two people and came here to negotiate terms. In fact, Gu Jianfeng also promised compensation. But she never expected that Suren would kill one or two people from Gudeo on the spot. What on earth is Suren thinking? She couldn't understand it, nor could she understand it. Wu Zhenyang was so frightened that he almost dropped the weapon in his hand. If someone with a weak heart sees this scene, he will probably faint from fear immediately. This is so fucking crazy. The younger heads of the two top families in the Dragon Kingdom were killed by Suren like this? Or died in front of their respective family patriarchs. This is undoubtedly a slap in the face of the two major families, which will definitely cause the other party to become furious. Wu Zhenyang looked at Wang Changjun, who was already thinking about how to deal with the anger of the two aristocratic families. Now we must find Wang Changjun to join forces to suppress the volcano that is about to erupt. Wang Changjun was also shocked by Suren's actions. He knew Suren's purpose. But this is too direct. Oh, I have to find some excuse to help him get over it again. After all, Suren killed the person before he could produce any evidence to prove that he was assassinated. No matter what, a reasonable explanation must be given to the public. And now things will never end that easily. Because Gu Jianfeng had already drawn his sword in anger. I saw a flash of cold light, and Gu Jianfeng disappeared on the spot. And Suren also disappeared in place. Everyone couldn't help but be stunned, wondering where the two of them had gone. Only Su Xiao in the crowd exclaimed, because he was so familiar with this skill. It is his unparalleled sword realm that can force people into fighting in the sword realm, and at the same time, he can extract certain attributes of the opponent for his own use. Gu Jianfeng also uses a sword and is of a higher level than him. They probably have the same profession. It's not surprising to have the same skills. After listening to Su Xiao's explanation, everyone understood what happened. Gu Jianfeng seemed to be a little afraid of this giant dragon, so he deliberately pulled Suren into the sword realm. Without the dragon's help, Suren would be dead. If he dares to kill his most beloved great-grandson, Gu Jianfeng will definitely kill him. Oh, what a pity for such a genius. Why did he have to kill Gu Dei? I think he thinks he can do whatever he wants with the help of this giant dragon. He doesn't think about it. External forces are external forces after all. He's still too young. Gu Jianfeng pulled Suren into the sword realm. Nangong Wenchen lost his target, and with anger in his heart, he once again raised his swords to kill the Ice Dragon King. The Ice Dragon King glanced at this tiny human and swept him away with a casual sweep of his tail. Then he spat out a mouthful of absolute zero, and Nangong Wenchen, who had just hit the ground, was frozen into a popsicle before he could stand up. Everyone watching the battle was so frightened that they all retreated into the palace. Crazy, Suren is crazy, and the dragon he rides is also crazy. Now the killing spree has begun, and the dignified head of the Nangong family has also been killed by this giant dragon. This is going to break the heavens. Everyone looked at the Ice Dragon King in fear, fearing that it would kill them all in anger. But it is obvious that the Ice Dragon King will not do this. It will only kill the person Suren orders it to kill. It doesn't even look at other people. After easily dealing with Nangong Wenchen, the Ice Dragon King lay down on the spot and waited for Suren to come out. The old man was very powerful to it, but to Suren, it was just a matter of one blow. Within the realm of Wushuan's sword, Gu Jianfeng couldn't help but frowned when he looked at the pitiful attributes that Jianjing stole from Suren. Suren returned the sword to its sheath. At this time, the sword realm also shattered and disappeared with the death of Gu Jianfeng. When Gu Jianfeng saw the attributes stolen from the sword realm, he really didn't take Suren seriously. But until his death, he didn't understand what happened. Thinking of this, Gu Jianfeng's eyes turned cold. It's no wonder they are afraid of Suren now. What kind of monster is this? Killing 9 turns is so easy and comfortable. It seems that he has wanted to cause trouble for our family for a long time. I understand. How could my granddaughter die at the hands of Suren? How could the Su family lose to such a young boy? Wang Changjun doesn't have the ability to command a dragon, so it must be the person behind him. Gu Jianfeng immediately thought of Wang Changjun. He believed that Wang Changjun knew how to handle today's matter, and that the family would never be a hidden danger to the Dragon Kingdom in the future. Since the Dragon Kingdom cannot survive them, he will rebel today. Looking at Suren, he didn't use any force at all. This is a bit too appalling. When everyone saw Suren coming out, they couldn't help but tremble with nervousness. How can you fight him? Even if they go together, they are no match for him. Minister Wang, I'll leave the rest to you. I'll go back to bed first. How dare you get distracted while fighting me? How much do you despise me? Just as Gu Jianfeng was about to raise his sword, he saw a blade of light had already cut across his neck. Is this monster really human? Wang Changjun is the person in charge of this trial competition. How could the officials not know that a dragon could appear here? Kill Suren first, then kill everyone in the mountain and bury him with his great-grandson. Lord of the country. Suren put down these words, walked to the Ice Dragon King's head and flew away. Suren's words slowly sounded in front of him. Is there someone behind him to help him? This broke the collective hearts of the trialists who were preparing to participate in the final round of the arena competition tomorrow. Suren's figure appeared on the stone slab outside the hall. For a professional with such rubbish attributes, he could stand there and let the opponent attack him for a year without being able to kill him. He couldn't understand how such a weak person could command the dragon. It must be him. His 9-turn strength is nothing to behold. Because there was Gu Jianfeng's body nearby, this top powerhouse who was said to have quietly turned 9 was killed in less than 10 seconds. 9 turns, how many 9 turns are there in the world? Why does this feel as easy as killing a chicken? This is Daoshan, which has always been officially controlled by the Dragon Kingdom. It turns out that the king is behind everything. These attributes are not even as many as those of an ordinary 2-turn professional.